Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Susan Lynn. I'm a psychic and a medium, and I do videos on politics, but also on spiritual matters. And today we're going to be talking about crossing over ghost, basically. We're going to be talking about the spiritual side of what I do. And I think this video, you're going to find it very interesting because it's very magical what happens when you cross someone over to the other side. So I am a psychic, a medium, and as I do these videos, I get the downloads from my spirit guides as I'm doing the video. So this actually happened yesterday. The event that I'm going to tell you about actually happened yesterday. And this morning I was just walking my dog, and my spirit guides were reenacting what happened yesterday and how special it was and how unique it was and how kind of mind-blowing it was. And they kept doing that. They kept showing me the pictures over and over again. Now, for you, what this might look is you may not associate it with your spirit guides. You may just associate that you're going back and reliving something that happened that was really special to you over and over and over again. And that would be normal, right? I mean, look, when we have amazing things happen to us, we go back and we relive them, and we recount what happened in our mind and think about, wow, that was such a really cool thing, right? Because it was cool. For me, however, I know when that happens, and A, it happens out of the blue, B, it won't go away, it just continues cycling through my mind. I know that my spirit guides want me to talk to you about that. That's just something that we set up between us, or I should say they've set up between them and me. Like, hopefully she'll get the message. Please let her get the message, But anyway, so there's two parts to this. And the first part I'm going to do is the beautiful, magical part. It's the part where the ghost came to me and I crossed them over. The second part is the reason why I was at the house in the first place. And the reason I was at the house in the first place was to help a very good friend of mine deal with an energy that was not good. So I came there to kind of assess the situation because, to be honest with you, I don't like dealing with energies that are not good. I don't like it. That's not my thing. It doesn't feel good to me. I don't get some people are good at it and they get like a zing out of clearing them out. And to me, it's just not my thing. However, this person's a very good friend of mine, so I decided to help them out. Okay, so we'll start off with the fun part. The fun part. My friend, what's interesting is this particular friend, I have featured his and his wife's issues or problems with ghosts on this channel. This will be the third time. So some of the other ghost stories were also his. Now, I came to Galveston to do this. He buys houses in Galveston on the occasion and renovates them and or rents them out or whatever, right? So he bought a new house. This house is 120 years old. It was, I'm doing the math sparsely, right? It was in the late 1800s. Yes, it was before the 1900 storm. If you know anything about Galveston, Galveston had a hurricane in 1900 in which 6,000 people died. It was, I think, still the greatest natural disaster in the history of the United States, okay? So it was before the 1900 storm. So, okay, so I go to this house. It looks like a Victorian / something that people have probably amended a little bit. It's big. It's a 2-story house, and it's a duplex at the current time. So there's a downstairs unit and an upstairs unit. I could not go in the upstairs unit because there was a renter, but the downstairs unit they had started renovating. So we were, so I knew that the energy in there wasn't good, but so I went in there because this gentleman, my friend, had told me. I'm going to start off with the good things. So I'm in there. I've discovered where the bad energy is, and it's in the kitchen. And it's in the back half of the house. For that reason, I had already checked it out, and I'd already talked to his wife, and I was not in the back half of the house because it was so bad. It made the hair on my arms stand straight up. That's how bad it was. And I'm going to tell you that's probably only ever happened one time in my whole life. So I went to the front of the house, which was the energy was better. Another side note is my friend's mother, my friend is from Mexico. He's an engineer. His wife is from Italy, and she's a PhD nutritionist. So these people are very well educated. And my friend's mother in Mexico does energy clearing on houses. How wonderful, right? So she's been able to help him a lot with his houses. And she had been working on this house. So the front half of the house was clear, thank God, because she had really worked hard on it. And she said when she had worked and cleaned the energy, it had made her nauseous. She had literally had a physical symptom of nausea. So she had to, of course, clean herself, right? So the front half of the house was good. So we went to the hallway between the back and the front halves of the house, and so that I could be close enough to the back of the house where I could talk to them about this energy. While I was talking to them, now I had already been there a good hour. And I have to preface this by saying that I am a professional at blocking ghost. A professional. I did it my whole life. I'm very good at it. I've had other mediums walk into my house and say, "Who's on your couch?" I'm like, "I don't know. I don't look." They don't, it's a don't ask, don't tell policy in my house. If they don't bother me or my dog, my dog is very spiritual, very, very connected. So if there any kind of a problem at all, my dog goes off like a radar. Okay. So I have an alert system, right? But if they're not bothering me, I don't bother them. That's kind of how I feel about it, I guess. Because honestly, once mediums open. Now, when I do a reading, that's why I ask you guys for names. I say, give me their name and give me their relationship, because to be honest with you guys, I'm going to pick up my spirit phone and I'm going to call them directly, because when I open the veil, a whole herd of people is going to come through. A whole herd. Not only people that you knew in high school that crossed over, that you don't even know crossed over, but potentially your ex-mother-in-law, this has happened, by the way, your ex-boyfriends, the abusive boyfriend, everybody. Okay, everybody can come in that's attached to your energy. But also, anybody in my house that may just want to come in and be like, "Hey, Susan, I need some help." That's what ghosts often need, is help, if they're going to contact you. So I try really hard to be very specific about who I talk to and when I talk to them. Okay, so when I was at this house, of course, I had to open up my spidey senses to be able to feel this energy. Now, I didn't have to open them much because this energy was big, really big and nasty. So I didn't have to open it like, the observatory. I didn't have to do that. But having opened it and then having been there for an hour, allowed enough time and enough of an opening for some ghosts to come through to me. So as I'm getting ready to leave and I'm talking to my friends about some steps that they're going to take and we're going to take and everybody's going to take to try to help them clear this house, as I'm doing that, a ghost walks up behind me. So I know this because I'm open enough that I felt him. Number one. Number two, he really wanted to talk to me. It's as if when you walk up to someone in the store and you're desperate to find this item and you can't find it and you just need this one item and then you're done and you can leave, and you finally find someone in aisle 13 and you're like, "Please tell me where the, whatever." For me, it's breadcrumbs. I can never find breadcrumbs. But anyway, "Please tell me where this is. Please, this is the last thing I need, and then I'm good," right? That's the energy he had. He came up behind me, and he was behind me, and I turned around to him, and I told them, I said, "Well, a ghost is here. Let me just see." I knew it wasn't bad. I knew it wasn't evil. I can immediately tell that, right? And to be honest with you, he was really nice. Sometimes ghosts approach you, and you feel this overwhelming sadness, this overwhelming grief. And then it comes into me because I'm also an empath. So then it comes into my energy, and I don't like that. It feels violating to me to feel something that's not mine, right? So that's another boundary that I've put up, another block that I've put up. So he approached me very politely. That was a good point in his favor. I didn't feel his grief and anguish. Second point in his favor. And he asked me politely. Third point in his favor. The fourth point in his favor was that he was looking for his daughters. Well, of course, now I'm like, okay, I'm in. I'm in. I got to help this man find his daughters. How can you not help a man looking for his daughters? Come on. So I told my friends, I said, okay, let me just have, a couple of minutes here to deal with this man. And they were fascinated by it anyway. So again, this is their third time with me helping them get rid of things from their houses. So they're used to it. So as I looked at him, the first thing I said was that he was and I'm connecting again. So he's a sea captain. So Galveston is an island. In case you guys don't know, it's an island off the coast of Texas. It's it literally is an island, and it's probably founded in the 1850s. I don't know exactly. It was pre-Civil War. It's not as old as the thing, your towns on the East Coast, but it has a very unique history. It's got an interesting history, and with the 1900 storm, and then it has a lot of yellow fever, a lot of death, a lot of ghosts, okay, and a lot of older houses. So anyway, this gentleman was a sea captain. He approached me. He was wearing those Greek fisherman hats. I don't know how, you have to just Google, maybe I'll put it up here, I don't know, but it's a Greek fisherman hat. And the first thing I thought when I saw him, which dates me, and if you don't know who this is, which embarrassingly, this couple did not know who this person was. They're younger than me, and they're also not American, but when I saw him, I thought Captain Kangaroo. He looked like Captain Kangaroo to me. He had a little bit of a belly, not big, but he had that same kind of gray kind of hair that was kind of cropped. But the difference was he had a beard. He did have a gray beard. And he calls himself a seafaring captain. So anyway, here's the thing. When he was looking for his daughters, he's showing me, or I'm seeing the energy right now. He was looking for his daughters. His daughters, he said, were about 8 and 10. And he was away from the house. This particular, the crossing of his daughters happened during the 1900 storm, which basically, 6,000 people died. Okay. So that you can understand now the population couldn't have been very high then on the island. It was a really big deal. So his daughters, so it was during the 1900 storm. He was away from the house. I want to say that he was at the wharf. I was at the wharf minding the boats. You could forget that. The boats were blown over the island and to the bay, right? There was nothing left. Houses were sticks, were just piles of sticks. Some houses did survive only because other houses and boats came forward and then rested and then created a wall of debris that protected some of the houses behind it. Okay. His house, let me ask that question. His house was fine. His house was, okay, it moved. He's telling me it moved, but it was fine. Okay. It floated, it moved. It was in a, it came off its moorings. He's talking in seafarer language. It came off its moorings. It came off its foundation. Anyway, he came back. He came back to the house as soon as he can, right? It took a while. I want to say that it took 24 hours for him to make it maybe 1 mile from the wharf to his house. Maybe a mile. I think it's maybe 1.5 miles at the most. But it took him 24 hours. He was injured. He had a laceration on his head. He was cut. He was able to, a lot of people did survive by getting on debris and floating on houses or floating on pieces of ship and during the storm and getting battered about, but that's how they didn't drown. They at least stayed up high. So anyway, he was injured. He had to work his way. It took 24 hours to get to the house. He went to the house. The house was, he's telling me the house was like this. It was badly broken up. That's why it doesn't look the same anymore. Anyway, his daughters weren't there. His wife wasn't there. He couldn't find anybody. He had an older son, but his older son was away, was not on the island, or was on a different part of the island. I don't know. But he wasn't, for whatever reason, he wasn't concerned about his son. He was concerned about his daughters. He looked for them forever. He became earthbound. When he crossed over, the man was already not young. Okay, he looks like he was in his 40s for that era. That's not a young person. And having gone through that, after that, there was a lot of infection and things like that, right? So I don't know how long. I want to hurry this up. I don't know how long he lived after his daughters. He couldn't find his daughters. He couldn't find his wife. Whenever he crossed over, he didn't cross over. Whenever he died, he didn't cross over because he was continuing to look for his daughters. All he could talk about was his daughters, but he was very polite to me, very much as if, I've lost my daughters. Can you help me? I just need to find my daughters. It was, I couldn't resist. Yes, I could find his daughters because all I had to do was, once I'm connected to him, I'm already crossed the veil, right? I'm already in that space between worlds. And, what I do is I'm connected to his energy. It's the same thing, guys, when you do psychic work or whatever. I am connected to his energy. Therefore, I can pull his loved ones in from the other side because I'm connected to his energy. Therefore, I'm connected to the energy connected to him. Does that make sense? So what I do is I look at him, I talk to him, I call on the other side, I ask for anyone that would be the best person to come meet him. Okay, now in this case, I asked for his daughters because that's who he wants to see. I didn't even ask for his wife. I didn't ask for anybody else. I asked for his daughters. Immediately, I saw the older daughter come through in my mind's eye. I saw her to the right of him. I saw her briefly come through and then she went back. But I knew just because I had a knowing that was his older daughter, who I guess was, I don't know, 10, 12, something like that. She was wearing a dress. I saw that much. I saw she had caramel color hair. She was wearing a dress. I didn't see her whole body. I typically only see 3/4 of a person because in usual what happens is they come through the veil halfway like this. Like this is fog. Let's imagine this is fog. They come through the veil and then reach out and get the hand of the person or hug the person or whatever, and then they pull the person in to the other side. I never really hardly see them come all the way into my field of vision all the way. Okay, so in this case, his daughter disappeared. Then the next thing that happens is I see both daughters appear. And then now he's still looking at me. He doesn't realize that they're appearing next to him. Okay, he hasn't. He's so earthbound. He's been earthbound for 120 whatever years. So he's not really tuned into that energy. He's really focused on earth energy right now. So then the third thing that happens is his 2 daughters and his wife, all 3 come in. And as that happens, that much energy happens. I didn't even have to direct him. Sometimes I have to say, they're there. They're here for you. Your daughters are here for you, right? Sometimes I have to say that. I didn't. The 3 of them, that much energy he was able to pick up on. He turned toward them and he's giving me chill bumps. He was so happy. I'm getting like really big chill bumps. He was so happy to see them. It's like, oh my God, like his heart just welled up and he had this big smile on his face too. I didn't even know he could smile. His smile was big, like really big. And he just like sort of dove toward them. He just sort of rushed toward them and he grabbed all 3 of them up in his arms and for just a split second, I could see that, and then they disappeared. So that was absolutely amazing. It was, I am so grateful and honored. I'm honored to be able to do this work. And maybe I will start doing more of it because I have another story to tell you about this. But I do want to say this because this was something he told me, or he, okay, so people always want to know, how do you know this? Well, he showed me pictures and he gave me thoughts in my head. This is something I do want to say because I thought this was very fascinating. So he had found this house. This house that's there now was rebuilt, obviously. And it was in the basic location of his old house. It was as close as he could get. So that's where he would stay, is in this house. Okay. Cause he felt like this was, where his daughters would come back to. He was waiting for them. And the thing that I want to share with you that I think is very interesting is that he said to me, he showed me electricity, and then he showed me, technology, basically heaters, air conditioning, cars, different cars, phones, then stoves that didn't, all these new technology, and then cell phones, and then computers, and then although the lights really are the thing. The dimmable lights, I'm not sure. But anyway, every time the family that lived there, whoever they were, got a new technology, his heart would sink. Because that's how he judged time. He didn't have any way to judge time, except for that when some new fangled thing would appear, he would know a lot of time had passed. It was like a marker, and then another marker, and then another marker. And so he's seen so many markers that he was starting to feel that he would never, ever, ever find his daughters. He was really starting to lose hope. Because he told me it's been such a long time. And that's when I asked, well, how long has it been? I mean, when were you here, right? And that's when he showed me the wreckage of the 1900 storm. I mean, it's pretty obvious. I mean, they've had hurricanes in Galveston and Houston and this whole area, right? But nothing like the 1900 storm. So anyway, that was beautiful. I wanted to share with you how he marked time. I thought that was very, very interesting. So now, having connected with one ghost, what do you guys think that's going to happen next? I mean, really, every ghost in the place is going to try to find me, right? They're all, if they're interested in crossing over. Now, a lot of ghosts are not interested. They're just not interested. They don't want to talk to you. They don't want to be found out. They're not looking for anybody. They're hiding. Okay. Ghosts hide. Why do they hide? Because in my experience, the people on the other side were abusive to them. Maybe they were bad people and they think they're going to get judged. Maybe they're very Christian and they think they're going to meet their maker and they're going to go to hell. So they don't want to cross over. Maybe they have an abusive parent or spouse. They don't want to meet that person, right? So that's why they're hiding here. Now, the next two ghosts that came in, I have to share with you because they were, it was really touching and really hard to deal with. So I have seen children ghost. I have, if you do this work, you're going to see children ghost. I mean, that's just the bottom line of the work. I have never, because I don't do this kind of work. Remember, I don't seek this kind of work out. I personally have never seen children as young as the two children that I'm going to describe to you. So, 3 children. The next thing that happened is I turned around back to my friends after I had crossed over Captain Kangaroo. And I turned around to my friends and I said, wow. And they felt it. See, the thing about these two is that they really have this ability, and that's why they call me, because they know something isn't right. For my friend, the guy, when he feels bad energy, he just demolishes the room because he feels like the tile, the cabinets must be bad, right? He translates bad energy into, well, obviously this design isn't working or these materials are inferior, right? So he gets ready. So he's like, I'm getting ready to tear the tile out of the kitchen. I'm like, honey, it's not the tile. The tile is not going to get rid of this thing in the kitchen. But anyway, and his wife, I walked through the house with her, and she said it's in this room. I'm like, yes. She says it's not in this room. I'm like, yes. Look, she's a PhD nutritionist, but she's got it. She's got the ability to know where these energies are. So they felt that. They felt it in their heart. They felt the love of this guy meeting his daughters and his wife. They felt the love in their heart. They felt the energy. It was beautiful for them as well, which is really amazing and validating and just it's beautiful for me, right? So so next thing is I turn around to them and we're talking about that. We're talking about how beautiful that was. And so I'm still open. I forgot to close the door. I'm still open. The next thing I do is I see a little girl, and I'm saying 4. She's 4 years old by the look of her, right? She might have been 3 or 4. She could be small for her age, right? So anyway, I see her. She looked at me for a minute. I saw big almond-shaped eyes, big, kind of not sad, not happy, maybe a little withdrawn, withdrawn, like withdrawn kind of energy. And she's playing a game on the floor. She's playing jacks, that old game with the metal X's that you throw and you pick them up. And isn't there a ball? There was a little ball that she was playing with. I've never played that game. I know it's a game that originated, I want to say, in the 20s or 30s. I don't know. And I know that it stayed kind of relevant through the 60s, right? But this little girl was clearly from, I even think, maybe 1915 or 1920. I feel like 1915. I'm gonna have to look up the origin of jacks and see when they were made, when they were created. So anyway, I'm pretty sure it's pickup jacks or something like that she's playing with on the floor. Now, of course, I'm seeing this in my mind's eye, and I told them, I said, she wasn't asking, okay, so here's the thing. She wasn't asking to be crossed over because she wasn't talking to me, right? And I didn't know what to do with her. So I told my friends, okay, here's the thing. There's also a child here. And I could just barely make out another little girl who was probably about maybe 18 months younger, maybe 16 months younger, very close in age to this little girl. I assumed that they were sisters. I just saw her for a little bit. So what now? They're telling me a toddler. So you could say then 3 and a year and a half, maybe. Maybe that's the case. Okay, so anyway, I told them, look, there's some little girls here. We're going to have to deal with this. I don't know if we're going to deal with it now, but when we get rid of this big, nasty thing that's in your kitchen and also upstairs, we're going to have to come back, and I would like to just try and see who we can cross over or see how we can make the house feel lighter, whatever, okay? But when I said that, I knew somebody came through. That's what happened. Somebody came through for the little girl. I got an impression that there was somebody coming in for the little girl. Somebody wanted to pick up the little girl. And it was her grandfather. And I didn't ask why it was her grandfather, okay? And not her mother or not her father. I didn't ask that. But I did double check the grandfather to make sure that he was of white light, and that his intentions were good. So I did scan his energy, and I was satisfied that he was her protector. Now in this case, why wouldn't this little girl's parents come in? Maybe they were abusive. Maybe they weren't the right people to pick up this little girl, right? So whatever reason, I'm telling you guys, I always ask for the person with the highest good for this person to come through. Number one, I also ask for the person that is more likely to get this person to come through. Okay, so this grandfather came in. I kind of held him at bay for a minute because I needed to check his energy. And I also was confused. Is he picking up the girl? Is there another girl? What's going on here? I need to understand a little better about what's happening. All this happened in about 2 minutes. This whole thing happened in about 2 to 3 minutes. When he came through, he didn't even look at me. It's as if he was, again, rushing. I get this impression of rushing in. Like, I have to be quick. I have to do this. The veil opens. You only have a certain amount of time, I assume. There's an urgency when they come in a lot of times. They don't linger. If they have to linger, they start to fade back. So he rushed in and he reached out his hands. Now, this man also had a gray beard. It was black. That's my dog you're seeing, I think, in the corner. He had a mustache and a beard, and it was gray, but black too. It had mixture. His hair was gray. It was like my color, shorter, and he didn't look at me. I saw his profile as he came in. And he reached out his hands like this, like you would, to grab a little girl. And when he did, the little toddler came into focus. And he grabbed her too. Oh, I want to tell you this. He grabbed her too. Here's the thing. I forgot about this part. I was telling this to my friends. The little girl is she is related to the toddler, but not related to the toddler. So she could be a cousin or a second cousin that, in those days, if your second cousin, if their parents was killed, they would just come live with you. And then you would call them your sister, even though blood related, they weren't your sister, right? It was just a common thing that families were always just accepting other people's kids, sometimes not even related, right? In this case, that little girl in the back was sort of related. Okay, so he came like this for his granddaughter. But when he saw the toddler, he recognized an energy signature, even if it wasn't like completely, strong. And then he reached out and grabbed her too. He grabbed them both like this. And I'm telling you, that guy didn't even turn towards the veil. He didn't even turn. Usually they turn towards the veil. He just went straight up. Like he shot up like like he was shot out of a cannon. So now I'm thinking, okay, that was, okay. I want to back up and tell you I'm sorry. They're talking to me. So it's like as if when you're on the phone with somebody and somebody else is always saying, tell them this. Hey, don't forget about that. That's what's happening to me right now. I want to go back and say that the reason I wasn't thinking I could cross this little girl over, right, was because I couldn't talk to her. She wasn't talking to me. I didn't have that communication. So I wasn't sure I could grab the right person, right? I wanted to make sure that I could really get the energy connected and then get the right person. But the right person came in without me asking, which doesn't always happen. Okay, so that means they were looking for her. That means that's what they want me to say. They were watching her, looking for an opportunity to get her. Okay, that man was bird dogging her, if you know what that means. He was basically watching her all the time. And when he saw an opportunity, when he saw Captain Kangaroo go over, he's like, here's my opportunity. He rushed in, didn't even say hi, bye, thank you, ma'am, nothing. Grabbed her and took off. So he had been aware. Okay. Now, the next thing that happened was, man, I didn't realize this was going to be so long. The next thing that happened was a little boy. So the next thing that happens is a little boy comes to me. The little boy looks like he's 4 or 5 years old. He's got a bowl haircut. Literally, he's got straight hair, literally cut in a bowl shape around his head. His hair is that straight, lanky kind of thing. That's I don't know. I can't describe it. And it's a light brown color. And he looks at me. He's not playing. He's a thin boy. He looks at me, And I knew I had to do something because the look on his face was telling me he wanted help. Like, you've helped them. Can you help me? Actually, you know what, tearjerker? He actually was asking me to be nice to him. He actually called me mama, and that took me out. That I just, now if I have emotion or cry, it's over. You can't have emotion and do this kind of work because emotion brings you back to your earthly self. So I have to really try hard to be very observer, right? Keep Susan out of this because Susan's not really doing this, okay? I need to just be the vessel, okay? So when he called me, he asked me, are you my mama? I almost fell out. I mean, I literally almost fell out of the whole thing, and then I wouldn't have been able to help him. So I had to really back up emotionally and say, honey, I'm not your mama, but I'm going to help you. And when I said that, I'm getting full body chills. When I said that, his mama came through. Thank God. Thank God. His mama came through behind me. I'm getting full body chills. His mama came through behind me, past me. Now this woman had his same color hair. Her hair had more. It was long down to her shoulders. It had a little body to it, like it would have a little curl or wave through here. It was the same color. It was in a unique color that this little boy had, and she had the exact same color. She was thin herself, very distinct jawline from being thin. And I see also the profile of her, right? So as she comes through, I can see her profile, and I can see that her shoulders are thin. And she went and snatched him up and hugged him to her so tight against her chest right here. And as thin as she was, she literally made him disappear. Like her whole body came around him. Do you understand? It wasn't like this. It was like her whole body encircled him. And as she went away, as she turned around, she literally did the usual thing and turned her back to me to go to the veil. As she got to the veil, she looked over her shoulder at me and smiled. And then she disappeared. And, wow. I mean, that's just amazing. That was amazing. So, like I said, there were some good parts to this, and then there's the other part that's not so good. And I feel like you're asking me to go back and release all those other people. Well, you know what? That's emotion. That was a lot for somebody to cross over. 3 different times is a lot. Now, if you do this all the time, probably not. And yes, it is true that I could go over there and camp out and probably cross over a whole bunch of people. But here's what they're showing me is going to happen. The people that are left in that house, first of all, some of those ghosts are scared of the entity, and I don't blame them. I'm scared of the entity. Literally took everything I had to not literally just say, we're going out on the front lawn or going into the street, and we're going to talk out there because I don't even want to be in this house. I really didn't. Number one. So those people are not going to come to me. They're not going to risk being found. Man, I'm going to have to look up. In Galveston, you can look up the address and you can actually see the tax records. So you can see like who owned it, what their profession was, blah, blah, blah. I mean, you really can do a lot of work on that. But I just saw some other things in that house that I need to check out. So anyway, okay, sorry. So what they were showing me was other people are going to come in. Okay, so the ghost in the house next door, the ghost across the street, the ghost down the street. Listen, it could be a never-ending line of ghosts. Ask any medium, or even yourself. If you've seen this, then you're a medium. Before I accepted my mediumship abilities, because I was blocking it and scared of it, I had a waiting room of people that wanted to talk to me. I knew I could see it in my mind. I had a waiting room, literally. They were all old geezers. I didn't recognize any of them, not one of them. And they wanted to talk to me. And those were just ghosts that in my energy field, wherever I was, that knew I was a medium, knew I could talk to them, and they were going to wait for me. I went to a tarot card reader about 5 or 6 years ago before I started doing this work. And he said to me, and he was very dramatic, and he said to me, do you know that you have a pile of dead people on your head? I'm like, no, I didn't know they were on my head. I thought they were in the waiting room. And he's like, no, seriously, I'm being serious. I said, yeah, I am too. I said, I don't know what to do about it. And he said, well, you need to remove them, but you need to remove them slowly and one at a time. So I really spent like a year removing these people from the top of my head. They were blocking my crown chakra, right? They were like trying to gain admittance, I think, right? They were just like boom, 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 all the way up. Well, I had to remove them because I needed to open my crown chakra. I needed to come into my abilities. So the reason I don't go there and just set up shop is because it would never end. It's like emptying the ocean with a teaspoon. Emptying the ocean with a teaspoon. It's never going to end, okay? And I'm not always good at boundaries, right? I mean, I'm good at like blocking, but when it comes to like, okay, I've helped 10 people, you 100, you're going to have to wait. I'll come back next year. Think about it. That's hard, right? Those people are all wanting to reconnect with their loved ones, but maybe they don't want to reconnect with a certain loved one that was abusive, or maybe they don't know how to find their loved ones. Their loved ones don't know how to find them. It's not that easy. So anyway, 40 minutes of ghost stories. Anyway, I'm going to just briefly touch on this bad entity. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. I literally went in there, and when I got into the kitchen, the hair stood up on my arm. I don't honestly ever remember that happening like that. Also, I talk about attachments in some other videos. Whenever you have a pain between your shoulder blades, right in between here, or you feel itching, or you just feel something, that's an attachment, folks. That's a ghost or an entity attaching to you. That's where they attach. So I literally didn't even go in the house. When I got there, I walked down the alley. This house is on a main street, and then it's on an alleyway. I walked down the alley because I knew that something was in the back of the house, and I kind of wanted to get a sense for it before I went in the house. When I was in the alley, I felt something behind me, walking behind me, or flying, or whatever it was doing. I felt something behind me the whole time in the alley. And it was menacing. It wasn't my fairy godmother. It wasn't somebody trying to give me the winning numbers to the lottery. It was not a good thing. It was a bad thing. It was menacing. It was trying to warn me away. Okay. And it felt big. It didn't feel like a ghost. It didn't feel like my size. It felt like a bigger energy that was focusing down on me. So I go in the house. I meet my friend's wife. My friend wasn't there yet. And she starts telling me about the things that have happened in this house. So first of all, this couple, as I've mentioned, they've done a lot of rehabs. They've done multiple houses of rehabilitations on the island, on Galveston. And they have lots of workers. They have lots and lots of plumbers and electricians and carpenters and drywall guys. I mean, they work with all these trades. He acts as a contractor, so he has subcontractors. Okay, so he's done this for years. Well, the first subcontractor that goes to the house has really bad something happen to him. Not at the house, but something really terrible happens to him. And to be honest, my friend didn't believe it. He kind of thought maybe he was just trying to get some time off of the job or something. But then right after that, a few days later, the only other person that had worked at the house, something even worse happened to him. A really bad accident happened to him. Again, not at the house. But we all know, and as I told you, this couple, they read energy. They understand energy. When you only have 2 people working at your house and both of them have freak accidents happen to them, it makes you start to wonder. And then he started to realize, wait a minute, I'm having this thing that I don't like in the kitchen, he's like, look, this tile is not bad. I could save it. It's not my taste, right? But it's serviceable. Why do I want to pull this tile up, right? So then he started thinking, okay. And then he talked to his wife. Well, his wife has been there working for 3 days every day, even more than him. And she's been working on some furniture that was in the house, and she's been working to repair it and to maybe spruce it up, paint it or repair it or whatever. So she's been there several hours every day for the past 3 days. Well, guess what? She started feeling depressed. By the 3rd day, she said, this is not me. I'm an upbeat person. I find myself not wanting to get off the couch. Now, they don't live there, thank God. But she's like, I find myself not wanting to get off the couch, not wanting to, sorry, it's getting dark outside and I'm getting brighter. She finds herself not wanting to do anything, right? Turn this down a little bit. She, and she has the wherewithal to notice that that's not normal for her, right? That's something's going on. She looks at her life. I'm happy. Haven't had anything happen. I'm good. There's no reason for me to feel bad or to feel depressed. So you add all these things together and you have a problem. You know that you have a problem in the house. So that's when he got his mother involved, and that's when he called me. This entity, and I'll say this, so it's a duplex, right? The person that sold him the house lived in the upper duplex. And she was telling him, ever since I've lived in this house for the past 7 years, my life has gone downhill. And she didn't say, ever since I've lived in this house. She said, for the last 7 years, my life has gone downhill and downhill. My health has gotten way worse. I'm depressed. I don't feel good. My money, everything is just, I got to get out of this house. I got to downsize. I've got to just let it go. Right? She didn't make the connection to the house, you guys. And then her daughter moved in below her. And guess what what happened? Her daughter, straight downhill. When my friend's wife met the mother, she was like, wow, her energy is so low. She's very depressed. She's angry. She's also an angry person. Then she met the daughter a week later and she was like, oh my God, her energy looked gray, right? So listen, guys, bad energies in your house can do this to you. It can make you sad. It can make you angry. It can make you be a person you're not that person. And when you're sad and you're angry and you're depressed, you miss opportunities. You don't go for the promotion because you don't think you can make it. You start doing poorly at work. You start having problems with your family. You start having problems in your relationships. And then what does that do? Maybe you get fired from work. Maybe you get laid off from work. Maybe you just never get that promotion. Maybe you get so upset and angry with work that you quit and you never get the same kind of good job. So you can see how these energies can actually pull you down, okay? So my advice to you guys is if something happens like that and you start feeling weird, or your family says, look, you don't seem like yourself, you seem depressed, is everything okay? And what is our normal reaction? I'm fine. Our normal reaction is I'm fine. You want to know why that's our normal reaction? Because we're logical. We look at our life and we think, nothing's happened to me. Haven't had any bad things happen. I have no reason to feel this way. Have no reason to be down. So I must be okay. That's the first mistake, because it happens so incrementally. It happens so slowly. Okay? So if you're watching this video and you feel like, oh my God, Susan is describing me. What do I do? Oh my God, what do I do? Okay, well, the first thing you want to do is understand that you have power. You have a lot of power as a human being. It's amazing. They don't want you to know this. It's the same thing with the former guy. Hate to bring that in, but it's the same thing. They want to trick you that you don't have any power. They want to trick you that you're weak. They want to trick you that there's nothing you can do. all that is an illusion. You have a lot of power. There's no reason to be afraid. I'm going to tell you guys, I spent a lot of my time in fear. That's why I didn't ever become a medium. I didn't see my Nana. I didn't see people that have crossed over that were loving and friendly to me. I saw scary things. I saw things that were scary to me. I saw people I didn't know. Okay? I'm an introvert. I don't need to be seeing you. Why are you in my house? Why are you in my mind? Get out of my mind, right? So that they want you to be fearful. They feed off of fear. All of these energies feed off of fear. Okay? So what you need to do, if you're experiencing this or you ever experience this, is first of all, and I told my friends this, stand up. Literally stand up and walk into that room and and I'm not kidding you guys. I mean, I risk looking like a fool all the time. I'll back up again just for a second to tell you, was in the alley. Remember, and I said I felt something bad behind me and I felt it on my back. I'm in an alley in public and I went like this. I grabbed that thing, threw it, and then I called Archangel Michael to get it. So you want to grab it, throw it, but you don't want to just throw it because it's going to jump right back on you. So you need to call Archangel Michael and see Archangel Michael. Even if you think this is all, you're making it up, why not just play along with me? Even go ahead, make it up. Just play along. See Archangel Michael, come in, grab that thing, and leave with it. See him put it in a bag, tie it up, leave with it. Archangel Michael has a sword. He is the protector of light workers. Have him with his sword, kill it, whatever you want to do, however you want to handle it. Okay, so now, if you have this in your house, what I want you to do is, first thing you can do is call Archangel Michael. You can have him come in and clean the house. What I do personally, because I don't know why, I just don't want to kill them with the sword. I don't know. It's a thing. I have him come in with a net, and he comes into my house, and I literally have him like hoover the ceiling, the corners, the floor, the walls, in between the walls, and I have him I watch him. I imagine him grabbing these little brown balls of furry yuckiness, sticking them in the bag. Look, he could be picking apples. I don't know. In the bag. If there's a lot of them, and sometimes there are, he has a device and he just hoovers them all up. You know, think of it as a big vacuum cleaner, right? And they all go in this special bag, right? Okay, so have Archangel Michael do that. Okay, now that's going to take care of your garden variety, like it feels like energy left over from fights and sadness and illness. You know, that's just cleaning house. You're basically just cleaning house. We all need to do that, all of us, okay? Now, for the bigger things, the thing that like I had a thing in this house right here that I just moved into. It's been my house, but it's been an Airbnb. So people have been in and out, right? I had a thing in my bedroom that all of a sudden my dog wouldn't go in there. My dog is my early warning system. And it took me a while to get rid of it because it was a similar energy to the energy that's at my friend's house. Not as bad, not nearly as bad, but it's a similar energy in the sense that it's not a ghost. It's something else. It's something bigger, has more energy, has more power. And I had to really figure it out. And I couldn't quite, they're evasive. They don't want to be found out and they don't want to fight with you because they know humans are strong. I'm telling you guys, they count on us not knowing that. So when I finally had enough of it, I went in that bedroom and I started screaming in an angry voice. And I don't care if my neighbors can hear me or not. Get out. Get out. Screaming. Get out of my house. Get out of this room. You don't live here. Screaming. Energy. Anger. My dog came to the door like this. Like, what the hell has happened to her? But you know what? It left. It left. Okay? You have an enormous amount of energy as a human. Do not Do not underestimate that. Do not underestimate that. Now, they also don't like noise. So you can take a pot that you particularly don't care about anymore, and you can take a wooden spoon and you can bang it and scream at the same time. Sound disrupts energy. Sound disrupts vibration. It is vibration, and it disrupts vibration. So bam, get out. Right? I live here. I have sovereign power over my own house. Get out. Okay? Now, when I would do that, I would also ask for Archangel Michael to come and help me and protect me and assist me, because I don't want it to go out and then come back a week later. That's happened to me. That has happened to me. So I need somebody to back me up, right? So you call on Archangel Michael. It's up to him how he's going to handle it. I've seen Archangel Michael show up by himself. I've seen Archangel Michael show up and then literally grow to the size of a skyscraper. I've seen Archangel Michael show up as one and then show up as 1,000. Okay? Now, I'm going to answer something a question I got in the class that Medium Kim and I are teaching. And that is, am I bothering Archangel Michael, right? Archangel Michael is energy. And there could be an infinite number of Archangel Michaels. It's not like he gets split off into 50 and that's all that the earth can have. It's infinite. There's no limit to the energy of Archangel Michael. And Archangel Michael wants us to call him. He can't come unless we call him. He wants to help us. His role is to protect us, is to help us. And to clear the bad energy out. So the more of us that call him, the more he gets to do his job, and the higher the vibration is, right? The more beautiful the vibration is. When we get done with this house, the vibration is going to be amazing, right? But right now it's terrible. And that vibration is affecting the houses around it. It could be affecting the whole neighborhood. So you want to do this. This is easy to do. Just imagine. Okay, if you can't imagine something, I bet you right now that if you close your eyes, you can imagine yourself sitting on a beach in Acapulco. You can imagine yourself sitting at a lake, a beautiful lake. You can imagine yourself sitting somewhere where you really want to be. Maybe it's a casino. Maybe it's at a party. Maybe it's at your favorite concert, the band that you haven't been able to see, the music you haven't been able to hear. If you can imagine that, if you can imagine a vacation you took in the past, and you can take a trip down that memory lane and imagine all those beautiful things that you saw and experienced and how you felt and how, oh my gosh, if only I could go back there again. If you can do that, then you can do this. You just use your imagination. All you're doing is using your imagination. That is the language of spirit. It's not logic. It's not, like I said earlier, Susan could not get involved with that little boy. I had to stay to the side and use this other part of me that was connected to spirit. So yes, you can get rid of this thing. If you have a terrible energy in your house, you can get rid of it. I would also suggest that you protect yourself by making sure you don't have attachments, and also bring the energy up in your house. So some other things you can do is, if you remember, I don't know if you guys can see that Buddha right there. That is actually a water fountain. And that water fountain played a role in the same couple. I did a video. They had a bathroom. They couldn't go in this bathroom. They had two bathrooms, and again, it was in Galveston. They couldn't go in this bathroom, and my spirit guides, theirs suggested they get a water fountain and run water, because water raises the vibration. It cleans the energy. And so that's the Buddha fountain that they bought, and they ran the water, and they played happy music. And they evicted it. They told it to get out, and then the thing was gone. It took about a week. The thing was gone. But his wife hated the sound of that running water. I mean, it made her want to pee all the time, right? So she gave it to me. She's like, "You take it," right? So I've had it, And I just recently told them, hey, maybe you want that back. And she's like, no, I never want to see that thing again. But, you know, the thing is that running water, a table fountain like that can also improve the energy. Playing happy music. I have that steel drum that I played on other videos in raising your. I did a video on raising your vibration. Watch that video. Raise the vibration of your house. Raise the vibration of your room. That's going to help as well. But the bottom line is you have the ability to kick these spirits out. If they're bothering you at night, if you're having terrors, if you wake up and you feel somebody in your room and it doesn't feel good, kick them out. Get out of bed and kick them out. Be strong. Be strong. Don't let them scare you. That's what they count on. That's what they feed on. Hopefully this has helped you. My goal is to help you. Please leave me messages, comments below. Let me know if you have questions. I do try to answer comments, if I can. I really love all of you guys. Big happy energy to you. Wherever you are, love and light to you. I am a psychic medium. I do offer readings. You can check that out in the description. And also, please subscribe to the channel. You can get updates if you click the bell notification. You'll know when I'm on or when I have a new video or when I'm live. And so you can actually know that in advance or get a notification of it. Thanks again for joining me, you guys. Best wishes to all of you guys. Talk to you soon.